This mode pack currently includes 2 miscellaneous modes. Unlike other encoder modes, these modes are not compatible with any Arsenal-powered control surface script that has encoders. They have limited compatibility. In both of these modes, the encoder accessory buttons are used for track selection. Buttons assigned to track selection will select tracks. If the track is already selected, these will toggle the arm state of the track. If the track is a group track, holding these down will fold or unfold the group. When shift is held down, these will select the track as well as the playing clip on the track if there is one. If the controller has a delete button, when that's held down, these will delete tracks. And if the controller has a duplicate button, when that's held down, these will duplicate tracks. This mode sets up the encoders for sending control change messages, otherwise known as CCs, to MIDI tracks in order to control instruments that respond to those messages. This mode is not compatible with encoders that send relative values. For example, it's not compatible with Arsenal PS1 for Ableton Push. For this example, I'm using 2 instances of this mode. One that's set up for silent, and the other is just set up for general usage. Each instance of this mode has its own settings file where you'll specify the CC numbers that it should use. In the case of silent, we'll look at its MIDI implementation chart to determine what CC numbers we should use. Silent, like many plugins and hardware instruments, has a native MIDI implementation. That means that many of its parameters are natively associated with a CC message. You can see part of its implementation in this screenshot here from its user manual. For this example, I want to control the volume, phase, detune, and pan parameters of oscillator A1 and A2. Here's the settings file for the silent instance. As you can see, I've specified the CC numbers associated with the parameters that I want to control. And now I can control those parameters in silent. This will work with any instance of silent in any live set. Here's the settings file for the general instance. And here I've just specified arbitrary CC numbers. I'll use this instance to control Diva. This plugin doesn't have a native MIDI implementation, but it does have MIDI learning capabilities, as do many plugins. So I'll use that to assign some CCs to the parameters that I want to control. And now I can control those parameters. And once these assignments have been created, they'll work with any instance of Diva in any live set. This mode sets up the encoders for controlling pan and send levels across the 8 tracks within the grid selector. This mode is not compatible with controllers that have more than one set of encoders. For example, it's not compatible with Arsenal NLC for the Novation launch control because it has 2 sets of encoders. By default, you'll control panning. You can toggle between the parameters to control by pressing the button used to select this mode. For example, here I've toggled to send B, and now I can control it.